Hi, this is Federico with Cuddle, and in this video, I'll show you how to make this kinetic toy. It's a walking figure made out of laser-cut plywood and paper. And I'm sharing a Cuddle template where you can customize the material thickness and other settings for laser cutting so you can get a nice fit when assembling it. You'll find a link for that in the description. And I'll show you how to modify that template and how to put these together. So let's get started. Here are the basic materials. We'll be using some 3mm or 1/8" plywood, some medium weight paper. I like the look and feel of this black drawing paper, but I think any construction paper that you find should be good. And finally, some multi-purpose glue to attach the paper to the wood. We want to get the thickness of the plywood, and I like measuring it with calipers in multiple places and then choosing a reasonable average. In this case, I went with 0.122 inches. The link to this project is in the video description, but you can also find it by going to cuddle.xyz/templates. You'll find a link in the top left corner as well. And here you'll find this one and other interesting projects. So here in the project page, we'll scroll down to get to the plywood components. And here is where we can enter the material thickness we measured in the previous step. You can always click and enter the number that you want. In my case was 0.22 inches, and then you can press enter. You can also click and drag to change the number. And if you're using millimeters, you can always change the units to millimeters and enter your dimensions. Here we can also change the curve compensation, which is a way to account for the material that gets removed by the laser cutter. Because this project is based on a finger joints box that has been cut in half and has some additional features like holes and tabs, I'm going to leave a link for a video that we made of making boxes that explains all these different things more in depth. I'm going to return to my original settings, and then when you're ready to download, you can click on the blue button and download a file that works for you. For me, it's an SVG. And now I'm going to move on to the paper components. For this one, we don't have to change anything. I'm going to simply download the file. So I'm going to click download SVG, and then I'm ready to cut them. I also cut the construction paper on the laser cutter, but I secure it to the bed with a little piece of masking tape, and that seems to be sufficient. It kind of stays in place, and then I can grab it at the end. Now that we have all the parts, let's start with the assembly. The first step is to grab this sort of S shape, which I'm going to call the crank, and then put these pieces through the curves until they hang in the middle. Those are going to be the footrests. After that, we can start with the base, which is a sort of box cut diagonally in half. And here you can see that I got a nice fit because the pieces go together with a little friction and they stay in place. And with any regular pencil, we can add a little graphite onto these holes to serve as the lubrication for the parts to slide more smoothly. Now we can grab the crank and place it in between the two sides. And that should stay in place. Now we can place the little handle or like finger hole, press it in, and you can put this on the left or the right. It's optional. And that should spin. Now let's prepare the paper figure. You'll see there are some notches that mark where the bends should be. So I'm going to bend it at the hips and also at the knees. And then the ankles are going to need a bit of reinforcement, which is what this triangle and tab are for. So the tab bends in, the triangle bends forward, and then the foot bends at the ankle. I'm going to need a very small amount of glue, so I'm going to put it on this scrap piece. And I like to apply with a toothpick. So here is on the ankle tab, and I'm pressing the tab to the foot. And here is the same operation on the other foot. Now you'll see that the figure has a little mark on the chest, and that's where the spring is going to go. So I'm going to apply a little glue to the spring and place it on that mark on the back of the figure. That holds the figure in place, and now we can put it on the base by putting the spring on that little notch. Now we'll place it in such a way that we can glue the foot to the footrest with a little bit of glue and then pressing it. Now I'm gonna move it carefully and apply glue to the other side. And I'm pressing it so it bonds really well. And at this point, it's nice to wait for a couple of minutes for the glue to dry. The spring can be adjusted so the figure is straight. Now we can test it. And if everything worked out, we should have a character that walks in place. Thank you for watching.